believes I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 55 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney Perry. I said that really weird. I'm Courtney Perry. I don't know. That just sounded like I'm Bond, James Bond. Anyway, hello. So, episode 55 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. To those of you that may be listening for the first time, I always let people know if you're expecting stuff that's not if you expect, let's see, great quality, great sound quality right this moment, you may not get it. You're going to hear a lot of crickets in the background and owls, and you're going to hear sometimes my dogs, airplanes, cars driving by, that kind of stuff. However, I've made the decision that I've got to start using my microphone. It's an expensive, really nice microphone that my sons got me and my mom, and they took a lot of time and energy and saved up for quite a while to get it for me. And it just means that I have to do my podcast inside, and usually there are people around, and it weirds me out, man. It took me forever just to even drive down a road where nobody was around and do this at all, let alone now have to be in my house where my dogs are definitely going to bark. And the microphone is so sensitive, it picks up every single noise. And then there's going to be people around, and I know that they'll be listening, even if they're not trying to listen. You know, we're all in the same house, so you can't help it. And it totally freaks me out. So I'm hesitant. That's why I haven't done it. But, I'm going to have to just bite the bullet, I guess. And I'm also going to have to come up with topics that I guess have some substance to it. I try to talk about all different types of things. I try to keep it about what's genuinely going on in my life, the things that are keeping me up at night, like I always say. I mean, the whole reason, one of the reasons that I started this is that I genuinely have insomnia, and a lot of it is from PTSD and anxiety and just so many things. And a lot of it is just things that I worry about and things that go through my brain at any given moment. And so hence the ramblings of an insomniac. And I just try to talk about things that I'm genuinely, things that I'm going through, things that are on my mind, things that have kept me up. And sometimes they might be interesting to you. Sometimes they may be boring. Sometimes, you may learn something. Who knows? But I do appreciate you listening so much. And I hope that you continue to listen. That would be awesome. I would appreciate it. But at any rate, excuse me. At any rate, what has been keeping me up as of late? All right, where to begin? So I am going to start with, I keep kind of going back and forth on if I want to bring this up or not, because I feel like negative attention is still attention. Just like on the news when they say the names of people that have done bad crimes, got themselves on TV for whatever reason, but in a negative light, the more that you bring attention to it, the more that your, negative attention is still attention sometimes. And so I've been kind of wrestling back and forth with bringing this up, but I've decided I'm going to, because it's kind of amusing to me, actually. So I had posted a video on TikTok titled, "You're Not Special." And the video was about me saying that I don't feel that your gender, religion, race, sexual preference, those types of things are what make you special. I don't feel you're special because of those things. I don't think a person is special because of those things. I said I feel those things are important. They're important, but they are only, one ingredient. They're just one part of what makes you you. I feel those things don't define you. I don't think those things are special. I think it's your character, your morals, and your actions that make you special, in my eyes. In my opinion, it's your character, your morals, your actions. Those things make you special. And I suppose I didn't word it, in the best of ways. I guess I didn't say it in the best ways, and I didn't phrase it the way I was intending, I guess. But I did clarify numerous times. And oh my Lanta, the world lost their ever living marbles. And I got, hate mail like you would not believe. People were telling me they hope I die. One gal said, I hope the Lord takes you soon. I've been called every name you can imagine. And this is what kind of cracks me up. So people are throwing out the word racist and like it's the word like it's the word and. And they feel that if you just plug the word racist into any old place, that suddenly that's what the word racist means. Same with the word bigot and privileged. It's hilarious. It's really genuinely hilarious to me. So, gosh, excuse me. At any rate, I have had, thousands, literally thousands of comments and people telling me, you're not special. Well, you're not special. And I'm like, you're right. I don't think that I am. I've never said that I thought that I was special ever, nor do I think that. And so, okay, we're in agreement. I'm not special. I had people tell me I was a racist, bigot, Nazi, C-word, how hateful and nasty and horrible I am. And then here's the funny part, though. So, and like I said, wish me death and hope that I die and telling me how they hope I die. As they're telling me that they're non-judgmental, kind, respectful, wonderful people that just really, really, really feel that people are oppressed. And here's what's funny. I listed off several. I said religion, gender, race, sexual orientation. And for whatever reason, the LGBT community decided that I was only talking about them. They've made it all about themselves, just like what's happening in the world right now. People forget that I am part of the LGBT community. I was with a woman for 7 years. It wasn't some college little tee hee, I think that I'm gay or I think that I'm a lesbian or bisexual because I kissed a girl one time when I was drunk in college one time. That does not make you bisexual, just so you know. That's not what makes you bisexual. And then people think that if it's just insane how the world has gotten, but I'll get to that later. But for now, this community thought that somehow they made it only about them, not about all the other people that I mentioned. And they decided that I was attacking the community and that I am now a homophobe. That's the other word. People like to use homophobic. It's the same generic thing. Like, come on, people. Can we come up with something new? Can you come up with anything new? Clearly not. Because most of the people that are saying these things have like half the brain cells that most humans do, and they're ignorant as fuck. But I have been called a homophobic, racist, bigot, Nazi, C-word, I hope I die, because I made that video. I have clarified what I meant by that about 4,000 times. But even if you listen to my video, and even if I didn't word it correctly, I still at no point in time say that I am against anybody from any particular background, nor did I say I didn't support anybody from any particular group. But that is what the LGBT community decided to turn it into. And then they have decided to stalk me on all of my TikTok videos, like every one of them. I did one about the show Friends. I did one about the smell of a barn. I did one about have a good day. I did one about giving a shout out to the veterans. And these people decided to go to every single one of my videos and call me a racist bigot. And I find that sad, incredibly sad, because if you have that much time on your hand, I'm jealous. I'm super jealous of all the free time that you have. And it's either because you don't have a job, because you're lazy and part of this generation that feels that they don't have to work, that things should just fall into their lap because they whine and cry and I don't want to work because everything hurts my feelings and it's exhausting being nasty and it's exhausting being entitled and it's exhausting having my feelings hurt. I can't work if my feelings are hurt all the time and everybody's hurting them. And at the same time, this same group of people is going around telling everybody how they need to live their life, people that are significantly older, that actually do work, that don't whine, and that actually don't get offended by everything. They are the ones that like to tell everybody else how to lead their lives and call them names that don't make sense. Is not the definition. You guys need to look up the definition of homophobic, of bigot, of a racist, because the things that you are, when you call me those things, you're not saying the correct definition. So I highly suggest you educate yourself. So there's a group of people who are uneducated, ignorant, and entitled, and they're the same group of people who feel that going around stalking and harassing and bullying people is somehow now proving that they are helping the cause that they feel is oppressed. If you go around bullying and harassing people, that doesn't suddenly save people in Ukraine. That doesn't save the LGBT community. It's doing no good. If you feel that certain groups of people are being mistreated, if you feel certain groups of people are oppressed, if you feel that there is bad going on in the world, then go do something about it. Get your butt up out of bed, get off of TikTok, get off of social media, go actually do some physical good. Go and try to get laws changed. Go and try to get a bill passed. Go protest. Go donate your time and energy. Because you stalking people or changing your Facebook page to a certain flag does not do anything for the world whatsoever. You being nasty and hateful is also highly hypocritical. Highly being a hypocrite. You're being a gigantic hypocrite. And then you telling me how hateful and evil I am while you are calling me all kinds of names is also being judgmental. And you're making assumptions because a ton of people have said, well, you are a white, straight, privileged woman. Okay, well, the only thing true about that is that I am white and I can't help that. So now you are being racist, right? But I just find it funny that people are spending such a huge amount of time going around and trolling everybody's profile and just stalking different people, and that they are just like getting all giddy. They're like, hee hee hee. It's like, do you genuinely have, I'm so sorry for you. Number one, I think you have mental illness for real. And mental illness is nothing to make fun of. I am not making fun of you. If you have a mental illness, you genuinely do need to get that checked out. And clearly you've got a mental illness if you are going around stalking a bunch of people's profiles and stalking every one of their videos on each one of their profiles. That takes an absorbent amount of time, an absorbent amount of energy. So A, you've got to get a job. You've got to get a life. C, you need to get some mental health, which is, I'm not making fun of, I'm not making light of. That's a genuine thing, because mental illness is a serious condition. These things are not good without being untreated. So definitely need to seek some treatment for that. But also, I just find it hilarious. I just sit here and eat popcorn and drink wine, and I'm like, oh, what else did I do? What else? Oh, tell me, what did you call me? Oh, original. Oh, but you guys do have to come up with new material, though, because I'm getting bored. I'm getting super, super. Oh, it's certainly not what's keeping me up at night, but it's hilarious because you're really boring, like incredibly boring. There's like 1,000 comments and 999 of them are calling me a bigot and racist. Is that the only words you know how to use? Are those the only words you've learned? I'm so confused. Like, do you know any other words? I don't know. I just fear for your education. And I don't know if you can maybe that's why you don't have a job. You can't get a job because you don't know how to speak the English language. Maybe you just genuinely don't know English. I don't know. Is it a second language? If it is, I'm sorry, but you do need to learn the correct language, right? So I just eat popcorn and chips and show everybody and post it all over the place and be like, look at this. This is hilarious. And then we all sit and just laugh and point and go, oh, that's a good one. Good one. Oh, that's hilarious. That's funny. And I'm just like, yeah. And I just eat it up. Nom, 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 nom. Delicious, delicious, delicious. It doesn't insult me. It doesn't make me feel like a bad person. It doesn't make me want to change in any way. In fact, it makes me go, I'm fabulous. It makes me feel more fabulous and amazing. So thank you. Shout out to the haters. Shout out to my haters. Because I've never in the history of ever cared even a tiny bit about what strangers think of me. Never have. It's never been a thing of mine. I know there are a lot of people that base their entire self-worth on followers. And oh my God, how many followers do I have? Followers. I gotta have followers. It's like a cult. It's like you're meant to be like a cult leader or something. I'm confused. But I feel that you should want people to watch your videos because you're trying to encourage them or support them or make them laugh or bring attention to a cause or bring awareness to something or just make people laugh and have a good time. But to spend time on social media bullying and harassing, well, for one, I keep pictures and stuff of all of it, and I will keep very, very thorough documentation. And if it keeps up, I mean, I'm not one that's going to just sit back and allow it to happen as far as if it gets too out of control by one person. I don't care if it's a bunch of people individually. That's hilarious. That's when I said I just eat popcorn and laugh. But if it's one person that continuously does it, like that's been happening, there's been one particular person and I took a picture of them telling me that they weren't going to give up. They were going to keep on. And they were like, just look forward to it. And I find that stupid because, again, that's just another ding against you, right? You're admitting that you're going to continue to do something illegal because that is illegal. And then you're admitting that you're doing something illegal and admitting that you're going to continue to do something illegal. So I take pictures of that and keep note of that. But with everybody else, I just find, I mean, keep coming, keep it coming, keep commenting. It's delicious. I'm eating it up, just eating it, gobbling. And then hoping that maybe one day, though, you guys might get a job and a life. I don't know. Okay, so let's move on to something better. I had to get that out of the way. Social media. It's hilarious because it's a good and a bad thing. I love that you can get out your cause. I love that I have this podcast, and I definitely, of course, would hope that people would want to listen. But I try my best to make it about my life and things I'm going through and hoping that people can identify with any of it. Maybe people can identify with some of the things I'm going through. Maybe people understand some of the things and they won't feel alone. Maybe they won't feel like they're the only people going through crap. And so I don't do a podcast, like I've said a million times, because I'm trying to be some famous person. I mean, obviously, that would be great if a lot of people listen. I hope that that happens. But I'm doing this for me. It's kind of like my own personal journal. It's like me keeping a journal. And if other people want to listen and they can identify, I really hope that's the case because I always want to help in any way. And I know what it's like if I find people that I like to listen to and people I like to talk to because I identify with them. I feel comfortable talking to them or I identify with what they're going through. So we all kind of need that. But what I don't like is when social media becomes like a popularity contest in the sense that who's being the meanest or it's almost like how many followers you have is more important than how many actual friends you have in real life to talk to. And I don't think we should replace humans with being on the computer. I mean, that makes me sad. I feel like we've gotten away from respect, from manners. There's a lot of people with social anxiety now that didn't really have it. I feel like before it's almost like it's now when they are around people, it's weird. I mean, we don't even turn in applications, resumes now. Everything's online. And I would want to, if I were an owner of a business, I would want to see the people coming in, not because of I care about their race or gender or anything like that. I just want to see if they made the attempt to brush their teeth, brush their hair, put on as nice of clothes as they own. If they don't own really nice clothes, I just want to see that they've made the attempt to come in and get out of bed. And if they were on time, I want to see about punctuality. I want to see what their handshake is like, if they even try to shake my hand. I think those things, if they look at me in the eye, I think those things are incredibly, incredibly important. And you don't get that from the computer when you're turning in your application online. You don't get a handshake. You can't look at someone in the eyes. You can't see if they're on time. You don't know if they're punctual. You don't know any of these things. These are things you need to learn. And yeah, okay, you can wait until an interview. Great. But I think that it says a lot when someone comes in to actually bring you something that they typed. I don't even know if anyone knows how to type a resume anymore. They just plug in, there's like a format that you can just plug in stuff. And anyway, so social media, good and bad, right? Like I said, you can promote awareness to different causes. That's always good. It's a fast, quick way to get information out all over the world, not just, your local radio station or whatever. But it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. I'm just seeing a lot of nasty. And I also don't like that people use it as a source of what's going on in the world and fact. Like social media is not a fact. These are a bunch of people's opinions. And yes, you can post facts on there if you get them from, certain websites and you point and you copy and paste it or whatever, or you read it from valid websites. But nowadays, it's just a bunch of people talking their opinion, and then other people act like opinions are facts now. And I don't know. That's disturbing to me. And the media now, of course, is so censored that we don't see the whole picture. We see edited stuff. And then that's also what we see when, there's the whole catfish thing going on. When you're meeting someone online, you don't even know if you're talking to the person that you believe you're talking to. It could be someone totally different. It could be a phony. It could be a fake person. They could be pretending to be somebody else and doing the catfish thing. And when you're on social media like TikTok and Instagram or whatever, people use filters all the time. And it's just, we've gotten away from being ourselves. We're always like putting on a show. And we're putting on a show for a bunch of people that we're never going to meet, a bunch of people that we don't meet. And yet we're not seeming to spend a lot of time and energy on those that are actually around us in real life that we can touch, and we can look at. And it doesn't seem like it seems like we're just this personality. Everyone's carrying around their phones, doing an Instagram thing and a TikTok thing. And I'm not against it. I do TikTok. I'm doing this podcast. Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just think there's a fine line between doing that and living on social media. You need to still spend time with your family. You need to still be around humans that you can look at face to face and touch and hear them laugh, And you don't know someone's tone in a text or on a TikTok thing, really. You can see who they are or who they're pretending to be on TikTok or on Instagram, but who knows how they actually are, because so many things are edited. Just like things on the news now, edited. So much editing going on. We don't get to see the real thing, and no one can handle the real thing. People can't even handle edited stuff anymore. This world is just topsy-turvy, upside down, and I keep thinking, oh, there's another car. I keep thinking I need to wake up, and hopefully this world, if I blink my eyes like the genie, hang on, car, Audi. All right. I keep thinking if I just wiggle my nose like on Bewitched or blink my eyes like on Genie, suddenly I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, or like on Back to the Future and be like, this was just a big old weird dream because things are just scary. They're pretty scary. Um, who knows if there's going to be a war? Who knows what's going to happen with so many things seemed like they're just looming. Things are just kind of looming. The air feels thick and no one seems to like each other a whole lot. It's pretty grim. And the sad thing is that's all over the world now. It just seems like you can't escape it, you know? Just seems like everyone's fighting for air and just fighting in general. It's like we're fighting with ourselves, fighting with each other. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's like the same thing over and over again, but I'm legitimately worried right now. I'm legitimately worried. Um, I'm worried about our relationship with China, with Russia. I'm worried about any white man right now. I feel bad for them. It's like you're not allowed to be a white man. And I'm really pissed off about the whole Women's Month. And yet there are men that are getting awards during Women's History Month and winning awards when the entire point of Women's History Month is to be dedicated to the fact that women genuinely have been oppressed. We have been around for men to basically want to have sex with, violent sex, rape us back in the day. Just to make, we were just around to give birth, just to keep the last name going. Couldn't vote forever. And women have been oppressed for a long time and had to fight, only to have now men wanting to be in women's sports, men to be in the Olympics competing with other women, in the locker rooms, in the bathrooms, and now getting acknowledged and taking away awards from women. I mean, honest to God, this genuinely, I don't care who this pisses off, does not bother me if this, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Men have zero business. If you have a penis, keep it out of the women's bathroom, because people like me have had a lot of trauma in their life related with men, and I don't feel safe at all with a man in the bathroom. If you think you're a woman and you identify with a woman, I have no problem with that. I want to say for the record, I genuinely have zero issue, zero, with anybody identifying with whatever they want to identify with. I don't care what your sexual preference is, your race, your gender, religion, any of that. I will accept you for being you. So don't twist my words. Don't start calling me all the names. I've heard them 100 times. I'm not any of them. But if you identify as a woman, great. But that does not mean then you need to save up and get a sex change and get yourself a vagina. Because I could say that I identify as the Queen of England. That does not make it so. My name, Courtney, means from the royal court. I was born on Queen Elizabeth's birthday, and I have a family member from way back in history that used to be a knight. So maybe I identify as the Queen of England, and maybe I genuinely feel I should be treated like the Queen of England. Maybe I identify as an African American because I have family members that are African American. Maybe I identify as a man because I have always liked to do things that back in the day used to be stereotypically manly things. But these things don't mean that everybody else has to now treat me as such. That's not what that means. And again, I've used this before. If I am like a Mormon or a Jehovah Witness, again, I have nothing against Mormons. I have nothing against Jehovah Witnesses. But if I go and knock on your door and I'm a Mormon or a Jehovah Witness and I knock on your door, I come to your door and I knock on your door and I say, hey, can I tell you about our Lord Jesus Christ? And you say to me, no, thank you. And you're polite about it. And you say, no, thank you. And I say, no, I want to tell you about the Lord, our Savior. And I say again, no, thank you. And I shut the door. And then you knock on my door again. Hey, I want to tell you about the Lord. And I'm like, I understand that. Thank you. Respectfully, though, please go away. Thank you. And I shut the door. And you just keep knocking and insisting. And I keep shutting the door. And you keep knocking and knocking and knocking. You don't need to convince me to be a Mormon. I'm not coming to you. And I'm not coming to you and trying to convince you to become, Catholic or an atheist or whatever. So we don't need to then have men forcing themselves into locker rooms and into women's sports because you suddenly woke up one day. Now, if you felt this way all along, if since you were really little and you are, 40 years old and you have just always felt like a woman, why didn't you do anything about it? Why did you suddenly do something about it? And if you suddenly just now did something about it, does that mean you just suddenly get to have all the things that women have? You didn't do anything about it for 40 years. Maybe you didn't feel comfortable. Maybe you're just now feeling comfortable. Maybe you're just now, okay, great. That's fine. But that also doesn't mean that you just wake up and all of a sudden get all the privileges of being a woman. Because I wish we could strap something onto you to where you could have menstrual cramps like a woman, or you can have contractions like a woman. I wish we could make it where there are men out there that treat women pretty poorly. And then the reverse is true. Females that say they identify as men. Okay, well, men pay, at least here in the States, higher car insurance. They pay higher health insurance. They pay higher taxes. And statistically, they're the ones that end up having to pay child support over a woman, and they're the ones that don't get the custody. So are you now going to, and they're usually the ones that get drafted in the war. So are you going to get drafted? Are you going to pay higher taxes? Are you going to pay higher car insurance, higher health insurance? If you have kids and you get a divorce, are you going to be the one paying child support? Because, hey, if you're going to identify with a man, then you need to take everything that comes with a man. If you're going to identify with a woman, you need to get yourself a vagina. If you can't afford a vagina, I want bigger boobs. I identify as someone with bigger boobs, and I identify as someone that has less fat and someone that's taller and someone that's tanner. But guess what? I have to pay for those things because I don't naturally have them. I'm not naturally tan. I don't naturally have big boobs, breasts, whatever. And I'm not taller. I'm 5'8", and I'm not any taller. So if I want these things, I have to have cosmetic surgery. And if I want cosmetic surgery, I have to pay for cosmetic surgery. So that means you also have to pay for cosmetic surgery. And until you have cosmetic surgery to add or remove the part that you no longer want or the part that you do want, then you are currently status quo. You are, if you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. And you can be called whatever you want to be called. But that does not entitle you to jack crap. And I'm really getting tired of people saying that my rights are being taken away. No rights are being taken away. The only thing that Tennessee is trying to do is make sure that there aren't drag shows that are in areas that you have to be 18 or older, which that should be anyways. You should be 18 or older. And that's what they're trying to keep it. This whole business about these drag shows that are going on in elementary schools and in preschools with a bunch of men that are twerking and wearing hardly anything and doing the most obscene, disgusting stuff. Not only should those daycares or those schools and those parents should all be in jail. They should all be in jail. That is disgusting. Stranger danger, gross. And again, not saying that transgender people or drag people that do drag are gross. I love going to drag shows. Love drag queens. Nothing against drag queens. Nothing against transgender people either. But I'm very, very, very much against drag shows and transgender people doing shows in front of minors. I'm very much against that. That's not okay. And you should not be for that. If you are for doing that, then you need to be in jail. You are a pedophile then. Not saying transgender people are pedophiles, not saying that anybody that is a drag queen is pedophile. I don't think that at all. Do not think that. So we don't need to start sending hate mail saying that's what I think. Don't hear what you want to hear. Don't twist my words. I said what I said. I said if you want to do drag shows for minors, and if you want to dress and you're transgender and you want to try and have someone like that, what's his name, Josh Marsh, whatever, if you are calling children, underage children, minor children, to private message you to talk about being a transgender, that's not okay. That's gross, and it's not okay. Being transgender is okay. But trying to have minor children private message you and you doing dances for minor children when you're twerking and barely wearing anything and you have body parts that are just hanging out and you're spreading your legs doing all kinds of twerking, I don't think that's okay for anybody. I don't think that's okay for a straight person. I don't think that's okay for a lesbian, for a bisexual. I don't think that's okay for a Catholic, for a Black person, a white person. I don't think that's okay for anybody to do for a minor child. Nobody of any race, gender, sexual orientation should ever be twerking and dressed provocatively in front of children. Period. Call me what you want, say what you want. It's all been said. I've heard it all. Again, you're wasting your breath, honestly, because those things don't bother me. It's not going to make me suddenly go, oh, what? You stranger that I've never, ever heard, I never met in my life and will never meet. All of a sudden, you calling me names is going to suddenly, wait, you think poorly of me? Oh my God, let me change everything about me. No, it's not going to happen. So again, don't twist my words to fit your narrative so you could boohoo and cry. I hate that. It drives me insane. And if you want to send me mean mail and stuff, I'll just read it. And again, yum, 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 yum. I'll show it to everybody and we'll all just think it's delicious. And it's kind of like a reality TV. It's like juicy gossip. So it doesn't affect me. It just makes me realize that I'm a better person than you and that I'm not a hypocrite. And if you're for twerking and dancing provocatively in front of minors, then you should be in jail and you're the gross one and you're the one with the problem, not me. But that's what's going on here in the States. We've got now where you have Women's Month and we're celebrating women, but we are giving awards and celebrating men. We are allowing men in locker rooms to watch us undress because they say that they identify as a female suddenly. And we have probably on the brink of war, who knows? We've got a president who keeps going over to the Ukraine, but refuses to help anybody here in the States with anything whatsoever, that can barely form sentences as I say that. Good timing on my part. But yeah, it's kind of a big poo show here in the States. What's going on in your country? It seems like a poo show in a lot of countries right now. Canada, I love ya. I love you, Canada. Oh, Canada. I do. But y'all have a shit show going on too, right? Oh my God. Ford. I mean, again, I've been to Canada lots of times. It's beautiful. Super, super beautiful. If anybody hasn't been to Canada and you should totally go. It's gorgeous. But y'all have a poo show going on there too, right? So y'all better not be talking smack because, Ukraine, poo show. China, poo show. Russia, poo show. I feel like England also, poo show. Like, what is going on? What country has it together? Australia right now, poo show. Who's got it going on? Switzerland never really does anything. Do they ever have anything good or bad? They're just, like we always say, neutral, right? So Switzerland, what are you guys up to? Cause some ruckus. Come on, stir some shit up, Switzerland. Let's stir some shit up. France, what are you doing? You guys seem like you've been laying low. What are you doing, France? Germany, hey, what's going on? Singapore, Tasmania, what are you guys doing? What's happening? Anybody out there from Tasmania, Singapore, I don't know. Greece, what are you guys doing? Greece, what do you guys have going on? What else? Thinking about my mom. It's coming up on her 1 year, the 1 year anniversary of her passing, which has been causing me a serious amount of PTSD, like a lot. Because again, like I've talked, the whole way that COVID was handled here by dear old Kate Brown, and just the United States in general was disgusting, deplorable. So many people should go to jail, and the government, God, just so many people did not get to say goodbye to their loved ones, and so many people had to die alone, scared and alone because of a bunch of misinformation, because Big Pharma wanted to make a bunch of money, because politicians are dirty and disgusting and deplorable on both sides, Republican and Democratic. They're all disgusting, evil people. And because they want to get together and benefit only themselves so that they can get richer and more powerful at the expense of the U.S. citizens, and then sit around and stir the pot and then just watch it all just get all clusterfucked. But my mom, along with many people, thousands of people had to die alone and scared because of really ridiculous, illogical policies put in place by Kate Brown and other governors of different states. And because of the government running this country at the time. So my mom had to die scared shitless and alone. And I mean, not alone, I was there next to her, but I mean, she was actively dying for months and months and months and had to sit in an assisted living facility by herself, all by herself with dementia, scared shitless. And I have so much PTSD, and I've talked about this many, many times, but nobody should ever have to be scared to death and not have anybody visit and be stuck in a room where somehow it's okay if CNAs come in several times, housekeeping comes in, nurses come in, doctors come in, med techs come in, physical therapists come in, so they can all come in. But me, the daughter, wearing a mask in a private room with the door shut, somehow that's not okay. And somehow it was okay for me to take my mom out into the public to a grocery store where there's a bajillion people that may or may not be vaccinated, may or may not wash their hands, may not sneeze all over the place. I could go to a grocery store, a restaurant, and all these places, and then bring my mom back with all those germs. That was okay. That was considered safe. But as I've said, I couldn't do that with my mom because my mom was immobile. She could not get anywhere. I didn't have the right car. She had to have a scooter. It took me over a year to get a scooter for her because, again, our dear old government is just all kinds of jacked up. So by the time I got a scooter from my mom, she died a month later. And she had oxygen. So trying to get her oxygen tanks and stuff and get my mom in and out of the car, she couldn't walk anywhere. A walker didn't work. She couldn't use a walker. And very few grocery stores and stuff have scooters that you can use. And the ones that did were being used by people that didn't actually need them, by lazy people that actually needed to get off the scooter and walk because they were just being lazy. So then my poor mom didn't get to get out. I needed to come visit her, but I wasn't allowed to come visit her. Only the plethora of people, everybody else could visit my mom and touch my mom and be around my mom. But me, her daughter, no. So I have I'm pretty pissed about that. Our government is just the worst. And I hope to God that Trump runs again. I haven't been paying attention to this whole Stormy thing. It's so ridiculous. Every politician, not to say it's right, but every politician has been sleazy and has been caught doing far worse. And Hunter Biden and all this crap going on with the Clintons and Obama and all of them has been just completely overlooked. And we're going to go after Trump because he paid for someone to sleep with him. who the fuck cares? He's not even the president right now. He's not even the president right now. You're just trying to go after him because you know he's a better president and you know that he kicks ass and you know that we wouldn't have other countries laughing at us and other countries ready to pounce on us if we had an actual, if we had a president that actually knew the difference between up and down. It's just, I'm sad for our country. I'm scared for our country. I'm scared for the world. I don't think our country is any better than anybody else's country. I think we all, like I've said 1,000 times, we all have our pros, we all have our cons. Good and bad. Every country has its pros and cons. We're a very, very, very young country. So, we have a lot to learn. But right now, the direction that our country is going in is downhill in the toilet. It's weird. It's like this big Alice in Wonderland acid trip. It's just crazy, and I hope it gets better. I hope the best. But anyway, I also want to give an update on my fiance and I. It has been a rocky road, but man, it has actually been really good because we're kind of relearning everything again, like I've said, and it's made me want to continue working on Alzheimer's awareness, as well as when you get out of jail, and just how I feel that they need to better prepare people for when they get out of prison, and just prison reform in general. So those two things have become quite a passion of mine, and I'm certainly not going to feel that I'm doing any good by going around to people's social media and calling them bigots and racists and going around and stalking and harassing everybody and changing my status to, support Ukraine, to have that think that I'm helping Alzheimer's awareness or help prison reform, because one has nothing to do with the other. I believe in actually trying to get the word out there. And like I said, with my mom, I called a million radio stations. I emailed a million radio stations. I got a hold of our state representative. So I didn't just, go around and talk about it. I'm trying to do something about it. Same with the prison reform. So, I'm just going to throw that out there, that if you genuinely feel that certain people are oppressed or aren't being treated well, what are you going to do about it? Because stalking me doesn't help anybody. It's not doing anything. It just makes you look hypocritical, judgmental, stupid, and also uneducated, because you just keep calling me things that aren't the actual definition of the word. So I think that you should probably look up a word and know what it means before you call somebody that. But at any rate, but if you want to listen to my podcast and then call me a bunch of names, please download a bunch of my podcasts while you're calling me names. That's awesome. But to everybody else out there that's a good person, or that's trying to be a good person, or that's being the best person they can, but is still respectful, is trying to do better. Maybe they are an addict and they are just really trying to live day by day. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that's still being kind, still being respectful, still helping others. Shout out to everybody that's been listening to me and supporting me. I genuinely think you all are beyond awesome. It means the world to me. And to those of you that are bored and not working, hey, there are many, many jobs available. There are tons of people desperately looking to hire. And you got to get a job while you can, because a recession's probably coming, depending on what country you're in. So anyway, you're going to have to pay that internet bill and that phone bill for you to be able to stalk me some more. So you got to get some money, right? Anyway, hey, you've been listening to the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney. Thanks for listening, and good morning or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.